Have you ever been in a room, fully present, yet feeling utterly invisible? A conversation flows around you. Laughter rings out, yet no one seems to notice your presence. That subtle sting, that feeling of being overlooked, is a familiar ache for many of us. It's a pervasive experience. This quiet neglect and its emotional impact shouldn't be underestimated. It chips away at our self-worth, leaving us questioning our value, our very existence in the eyes of others. Why, we wonder, are we so easily ignored? The answer, I propose, is far more profound than simple social awkwardness or a lack of charisma. It lies in a surprisingly potent force that governs our interactions, our perceptions, and ultimately, our sense of self, scarcity. We are often taught to chase attention, to clamor for validation, believing that the more visible we are, the more valuable we become. But what if the opposite were true? What if the very act of seeking attention diminishes our perceived worth? What if, in the relentless pursuit of being seen, we inadvertently become invisible? This isn't about blaming the individual for being ignored. It's about understanding the psychological mechanisms at play. It's about challenging the very foundation of our self-perception and unveiling a liberating truth. True power isn't derived from constant visibility, but from the inherent worth we possess regardless of external validation. This journey into psychology of attention will illuminate how the perception of scarcity, of our time, our energy, our unique selves, can profoundly impact how others perceive us. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew about attention, value, and the enigmatic power of being overlooked. For within the enigma of neglect lies the key to unlocking your own personal power, and the journey begins now. Let's unravel this mystery together. We live in a culture that glorifies constant availability, the always-on mentality, the expectation of instant responses, the pressure to be perpetually connected. These are the hallmarks of our modern age. Yet, paradoxically, this relentless accessibility often leads to a devaluation of our time, our energy, and ultimately, ourselves. Think about it. The friend who always answers the phone, the colleague who readily takes on every extra task, the partner who drops everything at a moment's notice. Are these individuals truly valued for their generosity, or are they subtly perceived as readily available resources, easily exploited? The answer, more often than not, leans toward the latter. This phenomenon, the devaluation of readily available resources, is a fundamental principle of economics, but plays out with striking accuracy in our interpersonal relationships. When something is abundant, its perceived value decreases. When we make ourselves constantly available, we inadvertently diminish our perceived worth. We become, in essence, commonplace, easily overlooked, taken for granted. This isn't about becoming aloof or inaccessible. It's about cultivating a healthy sense of boundaries, a strategic scarcity of your time and energy. It's about recognizing the subtle yet powerful impact of psychological devaluation and proactively mitigating its effects. By strategically managing our availability, we cultivate an aura of value, a sense of importance that transcends mere presence. We shift from being a readily available commodity to a valued resource, someone whose time and attention are precious, precisely because they are not freely given. Understanding this paradox is a first step toward reclaiming your personal power and commanding the respect you deserve. Let's explore how this understanding can transform your interactions and reshape your sense of self. Now, let's delve into the fascinating world of Jungian psychology to gain a deeper understanding of why constant availability can lead to being overlooked. Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist, introduced the concept of projection, a powerful unconscious process where we attribute our own internal feelings, beliefs, and expectations on others. We don't consciously do this. It's an automatic, often subconscious mechanism. Consider this. When we consistently make ourselves available, readily accommodating the needs and demands of others, we unknowingly project an image of submissiveness, of lacking personal boundaries. This isn't necessarily a reflection of our true selves. It's a projection born from our behavior. Others, in turn, unconsciously absorb this projection, perceiving us as less valuable, less significant. They may not consciously think, "Oh, this person is a pushover," but the unconscious message is received and processed, subtly influencing their interactions and behavior towards us. This isn't about blaming others for their unconscious projections. It's about recognizing how our actions inadvertently shape the perceptions of us. By consistently making ourselves readily available, we inadvertently reinforce this projected image of submissiveness, thereby diminishing our perceived worth in the eyes of others. This understanding is crucial, for it empowers us to take control of the narrative, to consciously shape the perceptions others hold of us, not through manipulative tactics, but through the strategic management of our own time and energy. The key lies in shifting the projected image, and we'll explore how to do that next. We're not just talking about attention here. We're talking about self-respect, the very essence of our personal power. Let's delve deeper into the Jungian perspective, examining how the persona of constant availability subtly reinforces a submissive role in our interpersonal dynamics. Jung believed that we all wear masks or personas that we present to the world. These personas are not inherently deceptive. They are simply the aspects of ourselves we choose to emphasize in social interactions. However, when our persona consistently projects an image of unwavering availability, we risk inadvertently creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. We become defined by our accessibility, our willingness to bend to the needs of others, often at the expense of our own well-being. This isn't about self-importance. It's about self-respect. Imagine a scenario. You're constantly available to help colleagues, neglecting your own tasks. While your willingness might seem admirable initially, it subtly communicates a lack of personal boundaries, a devaluation of your own time and energy. Over time, this behavior can reinforce a submissive role where your needs are consistently overlooked because you implicitly communicated that they are less important. Consider another example. A partner who consistently prioritizes their significant other's needs, neglecting their own desires and aspirations. This might stem from a desire to please, a fear of conflict, or a deeply ingrained belief in their own secondary importance. However, this pattern often perpetuates a dynamic where their own needs and desires become invisible, creating a sense of resentment and unfulfillment. The constant availability becomes a mask, hiding a lack of self-respect and reinforcing a submissive role within the relationship. This isn't about blame. It's about recognizing the subtle ways our behavior shapes our interactions and understanding how to cultivate a healthier, more balanced persona. It's about reclaiming our personal power by consciously setting boundaries and valuing our own time and energy as much as we value those of others. This process is not about becoming selfish. It is about achieving a state of authentic self-respect, which is a foundation of healthy and fulfilling relationships. The path to authentic self-respect begins with understanding the roles we play and choosing to rewrite our personal narratives. We now turn our attention to a fundamental psychological principle that profoundly impacts how we perceive value: the law of contrast. This principle, deeply rooted in our cognitive processes, dictates that the perceived value of something is significantly influenced by its contrast to what precedes or surrounds it. In simpler terms, absence enhances value, and scarcity creates desire. Think about marketing strategies, limited time offers, exclusive collections, and the ever-popular while supplies last announcements. These aren't just clever sales tactics. They're a direct application of the law of contrast. By creating a sense of scarcity, marketers heighten the perceived value of their products, triggering a desire to possess something that is perceived as rare or fleeting. This same principle extends to our interpersonal relationships. Consider a friend who is consistently present, always available. Their constant accessibility might lead to their opinions and insights being taken for granted. Conversely, a friend who is more selective with their time and attention, who occasionally disappears from the social scene, might find their presence more valued, their words carrying greater weight. Their occasional absence creates a contrast, highlighting their unique value. This isn't about playing games or being intentionally elusive. It's about recognizing the power of contrast and consciously managing our availability to enhance the perceived value of our time and attention. It's about understanding that sometimes strategic absence is more effective than constant presence in cultivating meaningful connections and genuine respect. By embracing this principle, we don't manipulate others. We simply harness the natural human tendency to value what is perceived as scarce and unique. This understanding provides a powerful tool for shaping our interactions, creating a dynamic where our presence is not only felt, but deeply cherished. we've established that constant availability diminishes perceived value. Now, let's explore the flip side, how scarcity acts as a catalyst for increased interest and respect. When something, be a product, an experience, or a person, becomes scarce, a fascinating psychological shift occurs. The item or individual is no longer perceived as readily accessible, easily obtained. Instead, a sense of intrigue, of desirability, emerges. This isn't simply a matter of supply and demand. It's a fundamental aspect of human psychology. The scarcity itself triggers a cognitive response, making a scarce item or person more desirable. Our minds are wired to value what is perceived as exclusive, rare, or difficult to obtain. This is why limited edition items often command higher prices, and why exclusive clubs hold a certain allure. This principle extends directly to our interpersonal interactions. When we make ourselves consistently available, we diminish our perceived value. However, when we strategically manage our time and energy, when we create a sense of healthy scarcity around our attention, we trigger this psychological response. Others begin to perceive us differently. Our presence becomes more valued, our opinions more respected, our contributions more significant. This shift in perception isn't about manipulation. It's about reclaiming our personal power by recognizing the inherent value of our time and attention. It's about consciously creating space for ourselves, prioritizing our own needs and well-being, and in doing so, cultivating an environment where our contributions are not only acknowledged, but actively sought after. By understanding and embracing this principle, we begin to shift from a state of reactive availability to proactive self-preservation, transforming our interactions and fostering relationships built on mutual respect and genuine appreciation. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about valuing yourself enough to create a space where your value is truly recognized. Understanding why we become overavailable is crucial for personal growth and achieving a healthier sense of self. Often, this behavior stems from deep-seated insecurities and unmet needs. It's rarely a conscious choice. It's an unconscious pattern, a coping mechanism born from underlying fears and beliefs. One common root is the fear of rejection. The constant pursuit of attention, the unwavering availability, can be interpreted as an attempt to preempt rejection. By making ourselves perpetually accessible, we believe we're securing our place, avoiding the potential pain of being ignored or dismissed. This is a self-defeating strategy, however. It often leads to the very outcome it seeks to avoid. Low self-worth plays a significant role as well. Individuals with low self-esteem may believe their time and energy are less valuable than that of others. They may unconsciously seek validation through constant availability, believing their worth is contingent upon the approval and attention of others. This creates a cycle of dependency, where self-worth is externally defined, leaving individuals feeling perpetually insecure and unfulfilled. Dependency is another key factor. Overavailability can be a manifestation of codependency, a pattern where an individual's sense of self-worth is inextricably linked to another person or group. This often leads to neglecting personal needs and boundaries, prioritizing the needs of others above their own. This is a critical point to address, a place where we can begin to cultivate self-respect and redefine our sense of self-worth. Recognizing these underlying patterns is the first step towards breaking free from the cycle of overavailability and embracing a life defined by self-respect and healthy boundaries. This journey towards self-discovery is not about blaming ourselves, but about understanding the roots of our behaviors and empowering ourselves to make conscious choices that foster genuine well-being. Let's dissect the psychological mechanisms driving this pattern of overavailability. At its core lies a profound fear. The fear of not being enough, the fear of rejection, the fear of invisibility. This fear, often rooted in past experiences or ingrained beliefs, fuels a compulsive need for external validation. The individual believes their worth is contingent upon the attention and approval of others. This belief system drives them to make themselves constantly available, perpetually seeking reassurance. This constant availability, however, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. By consistently prioritizing the needs of others, they inadvertently devalue their own, reinforcing the very fear they are trying to overcome. This creates a vicious cycle of neglect, where their own needs are consistently overlooked, strengthening the belief that they are not worthy of attention or respect. Low self-esteem exacerbates this cycle. Individuals with low self-worth often lack a strong internal sense of self. They struggle to define their value independently, rely instead on external validation to bolster their self-image. This reliance creates a desperate need for constant reassurance, manifesting as overavailability and a willingness to sacrifice their own well-being to please others. Codependency further complicates this dynamic. In codependent relationships, an individual's sense of self is intertwined with another's, creating a symbiotic relationship where one person's identity is subsumed by the other's. This often results in a complete disregard for personal boundaries and a relentless pursuit of external validation, leading to a pattern of self-neglect and a constant, exhausting need for external approval. Breaking free from this cycle requires confronting these underlying fears and beliefs, cultivating a strong sense of self-worth, and establishing healthy boundaries that prioritize personal well-being. This is a journey of self-discovery, and it's a journey worth embarking on. The path to reclaiming your psychic weight, to achieving a sense of self-respect and individuation, lies in embracing what we've termed strategic scarcity. This isn't about playing games or manipulating others. It's about consciously choosing how you allocate your time and energy. It's about recognizing the inherent value of your attention and presence. It's a deliberate act of self-care, a reclaiming of your personal power. Strategic scarcity involves setting boundaries, prioritizing your own needs, and intentionally managing your availability. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't determined by the constant attention of others. Your value is intrinsic. It resides within you, independent of external validation. By understanding this, you can begin to cultivate a sense of self-respect that isn't dependent on the approval of others. This conscious choice allows you to create space for yourself, to nurture your own growth, and to engage in relationships built on mutual respect rather than a desperate need for external validation. It's about shifting from a reactive mode of being, where your actions are driven by fear and insecurity, to a proactive stance, where your choices are guided by self-respect and a clear understanding of your own value. Embracing strategic scarcity is not about becoming unavailable. It's about becoming selectively available. It's about choosing to invest your time and energy in ways that align with your values and contribute to your overall well-being. It's a powerful act of self-assertion, a declaration that your time and attention are precious resources, deserving of respect and careful consideration. By making this shift, you not only increase your perceived value to others, but more importantly, you cultivate a profound sense of self-worth, freeing yourself from the exhausting cycle of seeking external validation and embracing a life lived on your own terms. Let's translate the concept of strategic scarcity into actionable steps. The first step is managing your availability. This doesn't mean becoming unreachable. It means being intentional about when and how you engage with others. Schedule specific times for responding to emails, calls, and messages. Create boundaries around your work and personal time, and stick to them. This conscious management of your time demonstrates self-respect and conveys a sense of value. Setting boundaries is equally crucial. Learn to say no to requests that drain your energy or compromise your priorities. This isn't about being unkind. It's about protecting your time and energy for what truly matters. Prioritize self-care. Make time for activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul. This self-nurturing is not selfish. It's essential for maintaining your well-being and sustaining your energy levels. Cultivate healthy detachment. This doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means developing the ability to step back from situations that drain your energy or compromise your sense of self. Practice mindfulness, paying attention to your emotional and physical responses to different situations and people. Learn to recognize when you're giving too much and adjust accordingly. This conscious detachment allows you to maintain a healthy sense of self, independent of external validation. These are not merely suggestions. They are essential practices for cultivating self-respect and achieving a healthier sense of self. By implementing these strategies, you're not just managing your time and energy, you're actively shaping your perception and the way others perceive you. You are creating the space for genuine connection, built on mutual respect and appreciation. This is not about manipulation. It's about empowerment. It's about reclaiming your narrative and writing a story where you are the author of your own life, not merely a character in someone else's. Healthy detachment isn't about withdrawing from life. It's about cultivating a sense of inner peace and self-sufficiency that isn't dependent on external validation. It's about recognizing that your happiness and well-being are not contingent upon the approval or attention of others. This is a crucial step towards breaking free from the cycle of overavailability and cultivating genuine self-respect. It's about prioritizing your own needs, not as an act of selfishness, but as an act of self-preservation. Prioritizing your needs isn't about neglecting others. It's about recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you prioritize your own well-being, you're better equipped to offer support and contribute meaningfully to your relationships. This isn't about becoming self-absorbed. It's about creating a balanced and sustainable life where your own needs are met, allowing you to approach relationships from a place of strength and generosity, rather than desperation. This shift in perspective leads to a more fulfilling and authentic life. When you're not constantly seeking external validation, you're free to pursue your passions, nurture your interests, and cultivate genuine connections based on mutual respect and shared values. The overavailability, the constant need to please, diminishes. It's replaced by a calm confidence, a self-assuredness that stems from a deep understanding of your own worth. The journey toward healthy detachment is a process, not a destination. It requires self-awareness, patience, and a willingness to challenge long-held beliefs and patterns. But the rewards are immense. By prioritizing your own needs and cultivating healthy detachment, you not only reclaim your personal power, but you also create space for more meaningful and fulfilling relationships built on mutual respect and genuine connection, rather than a desperate need for external validation. This is a path to a life lived authentically, on your own terms. Consider the allure of mystery. Think of your favorite characters in literature or film. Aren't the ones who remain slightly enigmatic, who hold back a little, often the most captivating? This same principle applies to interpersonal dynamics. Maintaining a degree of personal space, cultivating a sense of intrigue, can significantly enhance your perceived value. It's not about being secretive or deceptive, but about creating a sense of depth and complexity that invites further exploration. This isn't about playing games. It's about respecting your own boundaries and recognizing that you don't owe anyone a complete and unwavering exposition of yourself. Sharing selectively, revealing aspects of yourself gradually, creates a sense of anticipation and curiosity. It allows others to perceive you as someone with a rich inner life, someone with depth and substance beyond what's immediately apparent. This enigmatic quality generates a natural sense of intrigue, a desire to know more, to understand the layers beneath the surface. This approach to self-presentation is not about withholding information. It's about cultivating a healthy sense of personal space. It's about recognizing that revealing everything immediately diminishes a sense of mystery and intrigue. It's about allowing others to discover you organically, to appreciate the unfolding of your personality and experiences over time. This deliberate pacing cultivates a sense of value, a recognition that you are someone worth knowing, someone worth investing time and effort in understanding. The subtle art of self-revelation, carefully orchestrated, can be a powerful tool in building genuine connections. It fosters a sense of mutual respect and appreciation, a relationship built on intrigue and genuine curiosity rather than desperate overavailability. So, what have we learned? We've explored the often counterintuitive relationship between attention and scarcity. We've seen how constant availability, driven by insecurity, can paradoxically diminish your perceived value. We've uncovered the power of strategic scarcity, a conscious choice to manage your time and energy, to set boundaries, and to prioritize your own well-being. This isn't about manipulation. It's about self-respect. It's about recognizing your inherent worth, independent of external validation. It's about cultivating healthy detachment, not as a form of isolation, but as a path to self-discovery and empowerment. By embracing strategic scarcity, you reclaim your personal power, shaping your interactions and relationships on your own terms. The journey toward a life lived authentically, a life where your time and energy are valued, begins with a conscious shift in perspective. It involves learning to prioritize your needs, to set boundaries, and to cultivate a healthy sense of self-worth. It means embracing the power of mystery, allowing others to discover the richness of your character organically. It's about creating space for meaningful connections, built on mutual respect and appreciation, rather than a desperate need for external validation. This isn't a quick fix. It's a transformative process. But by embracing the principles we've discussed today, by strategically managing your availability, setting healthy boundaries, and prioritizing self-care, you'll not only attract more genuine and fulfilling relationships, but you'll also cultivate a profound sense of self-respect and a life lived authentically on your own terms. Embrace the liberating power of scarcity. Embrace the power of you.